Swiss Federal Criminal Court orders the Federal Public Prosecutor's Office to investigate the murder of Dr. Kazem Rajavi as genocide and a crime against humanity. Dr. Kazem Rajavi, the NCRI's representative in Switzerland, was assassinated on April 24, 1990, by terrorists dispatched by the Iranian regime. In early June 2020, the prosecutor announced his decision to close the case because 30 years had passed since the assassination. The decision was met with vehement protests by the Iranian resistance and lawyers and was widely opposed by parliamentarians, political and religious figures around the world. The assassination of Dr. Rajavi was carried out by a 13-member commando team sent from Tehran on the direct order of then Intelligence Minister Ali Falahian, against whom a Swiss court issued an international arrest warrant in 2006. In its final verdict issued on September 23, 2021, the Swiss Federal Criminal Court decided to investigate the case not as a case of murder but as genocide and a crime against humanity. The Swiss Federal Criminal Court reads in part: the public prosecutor of the Canton of Vaud, Special Affairs Division, by notice of May 28, 2020, informed the complainants of its intention to close the aforementioned procedure as soon as the 30-year limitation period had been reached. Subsequently, the Iranian resistance declared that the acts committed by the accused were examples of genocide and crimes against humanity and would not be subject to the 30-year statute of limitation. The Iranian resistance considers that the assassination of Dr. Kazem Rajavi was in direct relation with the massacre of 30,000 political prisoners, perpetrated in Iran in the second half of the year 1988 under cover of the fatwa pronounced by the Supreme Leader Khomeini. According to the court, it appears from the elements established during the investigation that the execution of Kazem Rajavi, an activist of the National Council of Iranian Resistance, then under the cover of political asylum in Switzerland since 1981, had already been decided and ordered in 1982 or 1983 by Falahian, Minister of Intelligence and Security Affairs of the Islamic Republic of Iran and responsible for directing the execution of opponents of the regime. For the purpose of planning the crime in question, Iranian commandos traveled to Switzerland 3 times between October 1989 and April 1990. During the last trip, the commando set up and composed of 13 people with Iranian service passports bearing the mention on mission surveilled the victim for several days before taking action on April 24, 1990. Ambushed not far from his home by 2 vehicles whose occupants opened fire with a 9mm submachine gun. The federal tribunal thus rejected the arguments of the Public Prosecutor's Office of the Confederation and ordered it to investigate the case in the context of crimes against humanity and genocide. The court also ordered the Confederation prosecution to pay court costs in favor of the National Council of Resistance of Iran. Mrs. Maryam Rajavi, the president-elect of the National Council of Resistance of Iran, described the decision of the Swiss Federal Court as a historic turning point, affirming that genocide and crime against humanity should at no time and not anywhere be ignored based on the statute of limitations. This is a significant development and a legal precedent for contemporary law for all countries in 5 continents. Mrs. Rajavi also called the court's decision a necessary step in countering the unbridled terrorism of the clerical regime, adding that the assassination of Dr. Rajavi was the continuation of the execution and massacre of the steadfast Mujahedin-e-Khalq, MEK, based on Khomeini's fatwa. The same heroes and heroines whom Kazem Rajavi defended on the international stage until his last day.